Shalom, shalom, family, peace, peace, peace. This is Elder Ura coming to you live again. Elder Yara on YouTube, social media. Like, share, and subscribe. Coming to you from the Black Patriots channel as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come on in, family. I know it's been a minute since I've last been on. I have been on social media, out here rumbling through these YouTube streets, dealing with a lot of nonsensical issues and arguments. Shalom, Prince of Yahweh. Shalom, KOT. Peace to you, family. Thanks on the ground. Like I said, I know it's been a minute, man. Let me tell you exactly what's coming up soon. Sunday afternoon, I do have a discussion, I guess, or a debate. He wants to call it a discussion, doesn't really want a debate, but it's a debate. Make no mistake about it, it's a debate. With, in quotation marks, I say that, in quotation marks, with Dr. Reggy Mabry. If you're not subscribed to Sonetta TV, because I haven't been for a while, but if you subscribe to his channel, I've been on there actually on the Black Jesus Minister show. It comes on a portion of Sunday afternoon broadcast on Sonetta TV. Shout out to Sonetta. And shout out to Black Jesus Minister for inviting me on the platform. He asked me to come on and be a guest on the show a couple of weeks back. I have lives and to have a discussion about certain things. Out of that, there was some discussions that was to be had between myself and Rob Bourne in regards to whether or not the idea of Black Hebrew Israelites or Black Israelites or Black Israelitism was the brainchild or the prophecy of William Crowdy, that it all began with him circa 1890 or so, 1896, somewhere around that time. Rob Bourne and I, that's the conversation he wanted to have. He claims that's what he teaches, that there was no sense of Black or slaves in the Americas at that time, before anyone before 1860 or 1896, I should say, that even considered themselves to be uh, Jews or Black Jewish background, that didn't happen through conversion. That was his premise, uh, and because of that, he claims that's what he teaches, that's what he stands on, that's his thing, right? So I said to him, well, you're wrong on that. That idea existed before William Crowder in 1896. Do you want to have that conversation, that discussion? And then, of course, he fumbled and bumbled and mumbled, and that never materialized. And I don't blame him. He would have to teach something different. Peace to you, KOT. Absolutely, absolutely. I'll hit you up. Matter of fact, drop your email just so I'll have it. I know I do have it. Drop your email again in the chat, and we'll definitely do something together, Art, and keep it moving, family. Definitely love to bring you on anytime. So with that being said, Dr. Again in quotation marks, Dr. Reggy Mabry decided to interject himself into a conversation and address me on some things. So coming this Sunday on Black Jesus Minister show, actually on Sarnetta's channel, this is Sarnetta TV, he wants to have a discussion on the Nash Papyrus, which is something that I brought up. If you're not familiar with the Nash Papyrus, it's not as old as the Dead Sea Scrolls, but they're closely around in the same range, circa 350, according to some scholars, to 250 BC time. That pretty much gives us the full Ten Commandments. It gives us excerpts of the books of Exodus and the books of Deuteronomy. But these were believed to be found in Fayum in Egypt. These Nash Papyrus written out. He wanted to know where could we find evidence of the Torah or Torah being mentioned or even talked about in the west coast of Africa pre-colonial times. I warned him then over the phone that's not a conversation he wanted to have in public with me. But he insists, Dr. Reggie insists on having that conversation. And then Garfield Reed decided to interject himself in the conversation and say, well, the Nash Papyrus and those documents are not authentic. Couldn't support that. He can't support that claim. No consensus of scholars agree with him, so he just comes on and does what he do. They lie. They're intellectually dishonest. But Dr. Reggie wants to have these conversations with me. He said, well, I just want to discuss it. But he wants to do it in a time frame. I get a certain time to speak about it. He gets a certain time to speak about it. But he wants to have it in an intellectual discussion. He doesn't want to call it a debate. That's fear. That's fear. So then I had a conversation with him a couple of days ago. I get a text message. Well, he's mentioning you on Sarnetta's channel, pretty much calling into question my scholarship in my studies in regards to these matters. But this is not a debate, right? This is just a discussion we're supposed to have. But he's calling me out of my information. So I call in, I get Sarnetta to get him on the line. And then he begins to talk about his credentials and this and that. But by the time we end the phone conversation, I simply asked him, well, what credentials do you have in Africana or African studies or Black studies? And then he proceeds to tell me, well, I don't really have any. I sort of kind of have an honorable mention. Really? In quotation marks, Dr. Reggie? So in other words, you can't produce a doctorate degree in anything. And the funny thing about it is he got upset because I exposed him on that. And he tells me, well, why are you bringing up my credentials? I said, you asked me, did I have a degree? As soon as I came on the channel, he asked me, well, what type of degree do you have, sir? Let me ask you. And so when I answered him, he begins to tell me, oh, well, why are you bringing up you brought it up. Quotation marks, Dr. Reggie. That's what I'm going to start calling him, quotation marks, Dr. Reggie. I said, can you show me anything that you have in regards to African studies or Black studies or Egyptology or any of these things that you espouse, that you seem to claim to be a doctor in? Dr. quotation marks, Dr. Reggie. Do you have a certificate? Anything you can print out online? Do you have any transcripts? Do you have anything written on the brown paper bag that says you actually are the authority in this subject matter? Then he proceeds to tell me, well, I spent years with Dr. Ben and Dr. Larry, whoever he mentioned. Whomever he mentioned. So in other words, your credentials is based on simply what you claim, and you speak against everybody else. A lot of times who shows up on these platforms, they have a degree in self-studies. That's what you're saying, Dr. Rich. Quotation marks, Dr. Rich. That's what you're saying. Yeah, so then he proceeds to ask me again as he tries to move the goalposts because he doesn't want to answer those questions anymore. Now he's been exposed. Right? So then he moves the goalposts and then he asks me, do you believe in Messiah, the Christ? And I said, there are many Messiahs. What do you mean? What do you want? Do you believe in the Messiah, the Christ? I said, you know what? Yeah, yes. I believe in Messiah, the Christ. Like, so then I asked, I said, what do you believe? Are you an Egyptologist? Do you believe? Are you a Kemetic priest? Do you teach that our ancestors are descended from ancient Kemet? No, I don't teach that. I don't teach that. I said, well, then what do you believe, Dr. Reggie? Quotation marks, Dr. Reggie. What in fact is it that you believe? What do you believe? He says, well, I believe my mother and my father are God. Interesting. Shalom, Asiatic Lion. Shalom, one humble. Peace to you, family. Glad to see y'all in the building. So Dr. quotation marks, Dr. Reggie proceeds and says, I believe my mother and my father are God. That's what you believe, Dr. Reggie? That your mother and your father are God? Please explain. Well, I believe we get our knowledge and everything comes from them. My ancestors. So I said, okay, Dr. Reggie, then are you a humanist, sir? Are you a humanist? He said, I'm not familiar with that term. Really? Quotation marks, Dr. Reggie? The self-prolific doctor here in these Harlem streets? You're not familiar with humanism, sir? I'm not familiar with that term, no. Really? I said, well, you sound like a humanist to me. I'm not a humanist. Peace, Jasir. I hope that's your name, Yazir. I believe that's how you say your name, Yazir. Shalom to you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I said, Reggie, if you're saying that you believe that your mother and your father are your gods, and then that you and yourself are gods, because I had this conversation with Sonetta right before that, I think maybe a couple of days before that, where he almost espoused the same thing. So I said, now you guys are exposed because you're humanist. And what you're teaching over there in the HOK, on the House of Consciousness, is African humanism. You're humanist. Because I asked Dr. Rich, I said, are you an atheist? No, I'm not an atheist. I said, what is it that you believe? Shout out to you, Green 101, man. You constant, bro. You like Green 101, man. I think you're probably the most prominent brother out here, man, in the conscious community, bro, than anybody, bro. Green got skin in the game for sure. Shout out to you, man. It's an honor that you're here, man. So then he finally says, well, yeah, I believe my mother and my father are my God. Okay, so Reggie, you're a humanist, sir. So you mean to tell me you want to have a conversation with me? You want to debate against Hebrew Israelites and Hebrew Israelitism and the Black Hebrew Israelite or Black liberation theology, which is how I term it. It's how I view it. You want to bang at us who have that belief because we're secure with an identity, but you yourself don't know what you believe. You don't have an identity. You can't tell me what tenets you hold true and dear to your heart. You can't tell me what moral standard or ethical code you live by. Quotation, Dr. Reggie. You can't tell me that. It seems to me, sir, you don't know who you are. And so let me share my screen. I'm going to drop the link today, man. I'm going to drop the link today. I'm going to talk with some of my people. Peace to the family, man. But let me share my screen really quickly. Let me share something with you. Let's talk about this real quick. We're going to talk about what's really going on out here in these YouTube streams. The Black humanist religion. Black humanist religion versus Hebraist Messianic theology. I'm not even going to get into the Hebraist Messianic theology issue. I'm not going to even get into that. But we're just going to talk about these Black humanists, who I find that Dr. Reggie, this is really who he is. And this is really what they hide. And they hide it because they don't want you to know who they are, and what they believe. They want to hide in the shadows like ghosts and demons and devils. They like living in the dark spaces. And so they try to stay as ambiguous as possible so they can keep you on the defense, because we're up front and saying, hey, look, this is what we believe. And so then they able to attack that. But then they hide behind this cloak of secrecy and deception. Don't want to tell you what they believe. Act as if they have no clue what you're talking about when you're talking to them about, and when you ask them what they believe. And then the moment you hit the nail on the head, like I did Dr. Reggie the other night, when I said, you're a humanist, you're an atheist. I'm not an atheist. Then you're a humanist. I'm not familiar with that term. I knew he was lying then. It's either that or he's just a complete moron. So one of the two. Either he's not really well read as he espouses, or he's a complete moron and a liar. But this is what these guys do. So they hide in the shadows. They hide in the shadows. So let's get into it. And this is what they're espousing, people. This is what's going on over there, right? Especially with these guys like Dr. Reggie, right? Quotation Dr. Reggie, I should say. Right? He's more like a roadblocks Dr. Reggie. He's a roadblocks Dr. Reggie. That's what he is. He's a roadblocks doctor. He's only a doctor in roadblocks. You feel me? Just shout out to my son. He's a roadblocks. It is Dr. Reggie. Quotation Dr. Reggie. Roadblocks doctor. Right? So let's deal with it. Let's talk about humanism, or African humanism. Right? If define humanism as a value system that places priority on the welfare, worth, and dignity of human beings, we should also consider those traditions in which human beings do not seek redemption in an afterlife, because for them, punishment or redemption exists only on earth. Consequently, their tendency is to place great weight on human action and human subjects. The focus on earthly actions is a key feature of many African religions and consequently African humanism. So when they claim that this is not a religion, that they're not religious, they are. They are. They're very religious. And they say, well, I don't practice a religion. Quotation Dr. Reggie, roadblocks Dr. Reggie, you're lying. You have a religion, and it's called African humanism because this is what you believe in. You have a religion. You have a religion, Dr. Reggie. I'm going to come back to this. African humanism or Black humanism. Among the few scholars who have written about Black humanism, there seems to be a general consensus that it is indeed a religion. In William R. Jones's God and White Races, for instance, he posits that Black humanism is antithetical to traditional Western theism, Black or white, but we can label it non-religious only if we equate religion and theism. So it's definitely considered a religion. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, family, I had to take a call. Shout out to you and y'all, man. Peace to you, fam. I'll put the link out there, man, because we want to discuss this. Let me get back to what I was talking about. We're talking about humanism, right? So let me get back to that. So indeed, we see it is a religion. Well, there's some scholars that believe that. But William R. Jones's God of White Races, a preamble to Black theology. Let's continue. Jones was responding to the critiques of liberation theologians such as James Cone that Black humanism was a secular philosophy that could not adequately speak to the Black experience. Anthony B. Penn likewise categorizes Black humanism as a religion. His work, The End of God Talk, aims to construct a non-theistic Black humanist theology. While this new textbook introducing African American religion has numerous sections on Black humanism. That's what it is. Anthony B. Penn, The End of God Talk, and African American Humanist Theology. Oxford University Press, introducing an African American religion. So it basically saying, listen, African humanism or Black humanism, hey boy, what are you is definitely considered a theology. So when Dr. Reggie says, I don't know, I don't believe it, I don't have a religion, that's not what we're seeing here, family. When you expose them, they run. Let's look at this. Black humanists put faith in secular life. Most African American families have roots in traditional Christian faith, but today, Black Americans are also Buddhists, Muslims, agnostics, and atheists. Still, other Blacks put their faith in mankind and call themselves humanists. That's you, doctor. So what is humanism, and how is it different than traditional religion? There was a segment on NPR. Tony Cox talked to Norm Allen, who heads African Americans for Humanism. It's based out of Buffalo, New York. And joining them was Anthea Butler, assistant professor of religion at the University of Rochester. So in this interview, we start out with Norman Allen, who grew up in a Baptist family during the time of Black empowerment movement. In NPR, I'm going to share some of this article. I'm going to be citing the Fair Use Act as well. It's for teaching purposes only. Let me see if I can. Perfect. So let's read what he talks about. They talk about Black humanists puts faith in secular life. This is what they believe in. They believe in self as their God. Now let's talk about it. Let's see what they said. Norm Allen, head of African American for Humanism, and Anthea Butler, assistant professor of religion at the University of Rochester, discuss humanism and the African American community. I wonder if I can play this. Hold on 1 second. Again, this is fair use.
Hey everyone, in How I Built This, Raz dives into the stories behind some of the world's best known companies. Click below to hear one of their latest episodes featuring innovators, entrepreneurs, and idealists. Support for NPR and the following message come from Klaviyo, the email and text marketing platform that puts creators in control. Get started for free at KLA AIYO.com/NPR.
Most African American families have traditional Christian faiths, but today Black Americans are also Muslims, agnostics, and atheists. Still, other Blacks put their faith in and call themselves humanists. So, what is humanism, and how is it different than traditional religion? NPR's Tony Cox talked to Warren Allen, who heads African Americans for Humanism. That's based in Buffalo, New York. And joining them was Anthea Butler, assistant professor of religion at the University of Rochester. We start out with Norm, who grew up in a Baptist family during the time of the Black Depression.
Well, I'm a member of the Council of Executives. We believe in the primacy of reason. We believe in science and investigation. We believe that human beings can take control of their own destiny. As far as humanists go, we tend to only be about 4% of our population when you look at most of the studies that have been conducted on the topic. However, our influence has been strong, and it's been strong not only in the civil rights movement, but it's been strong in general throughout the community. For example, if you look at the civil rights movement, you'll see that a lot of people will look at Martin Luther King and numerous other religious figures who, of course, were extremely influential. You also had secular humanists who were involved, such as Willard Randolph, James Warner, James Foreman, and numerous others. So though our numbers haven't been large, our influence has been great.
The question I have for you, though, is whether or not your message has been received in a strong way. Even though you have small numbers, the message, is that getting through?
Our message has been getting out there, but we don't really have the resources that you'll find among organized religions. We still tend not to be very well known throughout the community.
Well, Anthea, you are a professor of religion at the University of Rochester. Put it in your expert opinion for us why humanism has not caught on with the larger African American.
I think historically what we could look at is people who critique sort of the religious milieu of African Americans, Frederick Douglass, W. Du Bois, and others. This has been a long-standing question because of issues of slavery, racism, the inherent evils of society, sometimes that have been caused by people who espouse religious beliefs. So I think the questions have always been there and the people have always been within the community. It's just that their voices have been sort of, in a way, muted by this broader discourse. And I'd also probably say the broader stereotypical notions of what African Americans are. I always like to say to my students, when you look at a Black person, just don't see a Baptist, because that's not the truth.
Norm, for the masses of people in this country, do you find perhaps that humanism as a concept is something that people just are not quite clear about?
Well, yes, we do have that problem. In fact, some people within the humanist movement have said that trying to define humanism is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. There's so many different kinds of humanism, or if you will, humanisms. I try to do what I can to get the message out in a very clear way. We have a newsletter, and that goes out to various people who are interested in knowing more about what humanism is. So we have been able to spell it out, but the problem has been trying to get our message into the media, which has not always been accepted.
You know, earlier this year, National Public Radio, in fact, reported about the rising appeal of books that might be described as anti-religion. Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion is the best example of that. Anthea, is this a sign, an indication that this thought through these books is gaining traction?
Yeah, I think it's always been there. What Dawson and Sam Harris and others have done is made public the discourse in a certain sort of way. And the way I like to tell my students is I think this is the backlash against the sort of theocratic way of government and sort of an evangelical push that we've had for the last 15 to 20 years to be involved in government. I think that people who hold to a humanistic belief without believing in a divine entity would say that it's time for them to proselytize just as much as it's time for Christians to proselytize. The problem, I think, is that between the two groups, the level of discourse at this.
Let me pause right there for a second. Lex, the link is in the chat. I put it in the chat. You're welcome on the platform. You say, who would be against the human as a human? Well, it has nothing to do with your way that you breathe. And see, you're equating biology. You're equating biology with a belief system. Do you see your false equivalency there, Lex Vortex? And how simple-minded and low frequency vibrating frequency your thought process is. We're not talking about whether or not we are biological beings when we talk about humanism. We're talking about a philosophical belief, a religious belief. That's the issue. So that's why, as a human being, you could be against humanism. You understand that, Lex Vortex? That's how that goes. And this is what I mean when we have people who are talking about high elevation, when they're actually, they're only labels, when they operate at such a low vibrating frequency. Right? They operate completely out of, a false intellectualism. Shalom, Lex. Peace. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Hotep? How you doing?
Man, I'm beautiful, man. Can't complain. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who's not your ancestor. Who's not your ancestor.
Oh my God, Yara, come on, bro.
Hey, bro, it is what
Stop
it is.
it, bro.
Come on, man. I can't stop it, man.
Why
I am who I am, bro. Now, you made a statement, right? And I'm not gonna even beat you up on that. I did enough on that briefly, right? About, why would a human being be against humanism, right?
Right.
About a biological. You're talking about biologically. About biology versus a philosophy, bro. So that's so again,
it's not really a philosophy. Humanism.
Humanism is a philosophy. It's a philosophy and a religion.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes, it is.
Humanism means the belief.
I just gave you the definition and read.
It means the belief in humans rather than something supernatural or divine.
No, it's the belief in human beings as a God, as a God, not in biological existence.
It's not as a God, bro.
Yes, it is. Listen, I preface this statement because Dr. Reggie, I call him quotation Dr. Reggie or Roadblocks Dr. Reggie, right? So when Roadblocks Dr. Reggie says, my faith and my belief is in my mother and my father, those are my gods.
Yeah. So
he in fact says, then in terms of if his mother and his father are his gods, then we're no longer talking about just an instance of biologically.
Yes, you are.
No, he's not. Listen to what I said.
Because he doesn't view
talking about an instance of biology, but he's also talking about an instance of creation in the vast knowledge of understanding.
No, he's saying that his mother and father, he's not talking about nothing supernatural.
He absolutely
what he views as God, he's saying his parents created him. That's just a very practical outlook. It has nothing to do with anything supernatural, someone saying that.
Yeah, I don't think you understand what humanism is. Well, let me read you a definition. Let
I'm
me give.
looking at the definition right now. I could read it to you myself.
No, I got it right here. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you the source for it. Right. I'm gonna give you the source for it. Right. And what they're talking about.
Black humanism. Now you got
Yes,
to put black before it.
because that's what it is. See, there's a difference in European humanism and versus Black humanism. And I
No,
did
it
him
isn't,
a
bro.
favor. I did him a favor by not attacking him with European or Western thought.
What's the difference between Black humanism and European humanism?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
It wouldn't be humanism if you put anything before it.
But this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. There is a difference. This is what I mean by you guys not really understanding the things that you say. There is a science, there's a philosophy and definitions of things that you say. So let me show you there is a difference. Right? Let me show you guys there's a difference.
Not in the raw definition, sir.
Yes, in the very raw definition.
There's no difference. Humanism
There
is human.
is a definition. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you there is a definition in the raw definition. Right? Let's talk about it. Right? So, Britannica, just right here. Humanism is a system of education and mode of inquiry that originated in northern Italy during the 13th and 14th centuries and later spread through continental Europe and England. The term is alternatively applied to a variety of Western beliefs, methods, and philosophies that place central emphasis on the human realm. That's the core belief of humanism.
Yeah, it's just dealing with humans, bro.
Listen
That's what all that really means.
What it really means is what it says: Western beliefs, methods, and philosophies. That's what it means.
Surrounded by dealing with humans.
No, that's a difference in that, because let's talk about then, Lex, what Black humanism is defined as, or African humanism. See, this is what I mean. You guys say a lot of stuff, but you're intellectually dishonest. Or you simply just don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You just make things way more complex than they need to be, bro.
I cut to the bone. You guys like to play on the surface. Y'all love playing intellectual footsies with each other. See, I'm not with that. Like I told Reggie, I'm gonna kick the shit out you. So let's look at what African humanism is, right? In our context, he refers to philosophy which extols not only the good of the human person in general, but also the good of the African person is in the purpose of all actions. There's a difference, right? So let's look at who was the founder of humanism in Africa, right? This is encyclopedia.com.
Yeah, if you come from a different culture, you may have.
So it's not the same, right? So
no, what I'm saying is if
If
I'm Chinese,
let's establish that there is a difference in Western European humanism and African and Black humanism. There's a difference. Correct?
No.
Okay, so now you can't read. So it says, so whereas Diop, or Job, I should say, represented the historical tradition of African secular humanism, Senghor is the father of poeticizing tradition. He defended the humanity of Black Africans primarily through literature, although his thought also included reflections on music. So when we talk about the differences in humanism and the philosophies, they are different. They're not.
No, their perspective from the experience is different.
Then they're not the same.
No,
bro, listen to me, bro. Listen to me.
I'm just trying to respond to what you're saying.
You're not listening though.
It's just like saying Black Christianity and white Christianity is different.
It is different, but it's completely different.
But what I'm saying,
wait a minute. Are you telling me that evangelical Christianity, right? Evangelical Christianity is the same as first century Christianity?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So then Christianity, all forms of Christianity are the same.
Christianity in itself is the same. What I'm saying.
Christianity. Listen, I'm
So
talking.
what I'm saying is that depending on a personal experience or a cultural experience, someone may interpret different situations, from their eyes of where they're coming from.
Does that
You
make
see what I'm
it
saying?
different?
But humanism is the same. But if I'm a person in China, then I might put Chinese at the front of how I see humanism because I live in China. But humanism is about humans. So our personal experiences and our eyeglasses, that's like saying, like, if me and you look down the street, do we see the same thing? No, but it is the same thing. You see what I'm saying?
No, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, what we're looking at is the same, but through the lenses of our experience is going to make us see different things.
So, but that makes it different for each individual, correct?
Yeah, that's like everybody on the planet, though. But the concept itself is the same, bro. The foundation humanism means humans.
Listen,
like
bro,
we don't. It's a separation between
humanism
the supernatural.
does not mean humans.
In other words, can I
give
you an example?
Process,
let me give you an example. Humanism would be we have a problem, and the humanist view would be humans have to solve that problem. The other view may be, well, we're going to pray to God to help us solve this problem. Humanism is relying on humans.
Show me how humanism says God, they rely on anywhere in the form of humanism says that they will rely on God to solve the problem.
No, I just said the opposite. They wouldn't rely on God. That's what I'm saying. So they would rely. They would say
of God.
It's absent of anything divine or supernatural. It's all about humans. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so listen, you keep saying it's all about humans. I get the semantics.
Like it's only going to be humans that solve the problem.
Listen, we can. Are there different philosophies in war?
I mean, bro, we can move on from that because I will let me agree. There would be different outlooks based on people's cultural experience.
Right. It's different. That's all I'm saying. So,
but the base of humanism is just about humans.
It's about humans being in a different, I would agree, environment, being in a different space, and then a different understanding and outlook. I would agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's for every individual too, as long and culturally. But so different people, like black people have whatever religion they're in, they have a different type of outlook on a religion. Like black Muslims are not the same as Arab Muslims, but Islam is the same. But their experiences change their eyeglasses. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah. So so we can agree. We can agree on that because I don't think that's far away from what I'm saying here.
Okay.
So when I say that there's a difference between European humanism and their philosophy and African or black humanism and their philosophy.
Right. But the basis is human.
Okay, we can agree there. So let's not get stuck there. We can agree.
Right. The basis is humans.
Right. So let's agree there. Right.
So I don't think you have nothing with Reggie on that.
I do.
There's nothing.
Because what they're doing, listen, and I've heard you say this as well. When you talk about the white experience of Western philosophy, this is why you see a lot of guys that used to teach Hermeticism has moved away from that because they couldn't get around the fact that those in ancient Kemet worshiped a pantheon of deities. They tried to do that and saying, when they were talking about natures, they were only talking about when they were talking about the natures, that they were only talking about their environment and how their environment related to them, and they didn't actually worship these things as deities. I think when they actually got down to it and started to really left with no choice but to really look at what we can find, archaeologically speaking, scientifically speaking, that these people were actually worshiping these pantheon of deities. They were actually sacrificing to these deities and to these gods. And so these humanists that we have, not secular humanists, but these humanists that we have, these black humanists like Dr. Reggie and Sonetta, once these guys start, they had to move away from that. They had to move away from that because they could no longer make an argument against any particular religion, especially Black Hebrew Israelite theology, if they were following these beliefs that getting back to this ancestors and how they worship these pantheon of deities. So they had to move away from that to save their argument. So now they've completely moved into a Black humanist philosophy, or more so an African, more so specifically an African humanist philosophy. They had
Black American humanist philosophy.
not necessarily Black.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That was a Black American, bro.
There's different.
Reggie is a Black American, so
he's a Black American. I agree, he's a Black American, but he espouses African humanism, not Black American humanism.
He's looking at Africa from a Black American lens.
But he can't do that because he's not.
Yes, he can, because he's a Black American. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. The eyeglasses.
No, I can't, because when I asked him, "Are you descendant? Who are your descendants?" Right? Who do you descend from? He said, "We don't descend from ancient Kemet. I don't descend from that. I don't teach that." So,
right.
So then who are you descended from? He says, "Oh, my mother and my father." Right? So now when he says his mother and his father, and he claims that those are his gods and those are his ancestors, those are his ancestors and gods simply based on biology.
So, I mean, okay, so
right?
What is...
Because that's not what he's espousing, right? This is what I'm saying. How you guys, well, I'm not going to say you, but this is how these guys do the 3-card Monty and the 3-card shuffle. Because I simply asked him, what is it that he believes in? He says, I don't have a belief. But that is in fact a belief system.
I don't know. I think it was you're
the scholar said
petty. I'll be a little petty trying to call it a belief system.
No, it's a belief system, right?
No, it's not a belief system. You see, this is when you're trying to equate it.
No, I'm not trying to equate it
to like your Black Hebrew Israelite beliefs. That's a true belief system.
Let me show you.
So when Reggie says I don't have a belief system, you're trying to say no, you do, as if it's equal to like being a Christian, Muslim, or a Jew.
And why
that's not true. It isn't.
Why isn't it?
It isn't.
Why not? Is the question. Why isn't it?
You know why, man.
No, I'm asking you, why isn't it?
Because that means that his approach would not be, he doesn't believe in even in the comedic stories as you do. He doesn't take them literally.
Well, I just said he's not even talking about the comedic stories.
And he doesn't.
This is what I'm saying. Just as
he doesn't believe in a mystery God. He doesn't believe in like all the fairy tales. So that's what will make the difference.
But that doesn't make it not a belief system. And that's where you guys are intellectually dishonest again. So if you look at my screen, this is William R. Jones, right? Is God a White Racist? A Preamble to Black Theology, 1998, Boston Beacon Press, 1970.
Yes, God is a white racist.
He says this: among the few scholars who have written about Black humanism, there seems to be a general consensus that it is indeed a religion.
So what? Just because he said that, it's not a religion, bro. Stop it.
Hold on. These aren't my words.
Religion is connected to something supernatural.
What talking about? No, religion is man's attempt to explain God.
Humanism doesn't attempt to explain God.
Exactly, it does when he says
humanism discounts.
When he says my parents are my gods, isn't that explaining who God is?
No, it's explaining what God is to him. It's not explaining what I'm saying.
That's not
talking about y'all. That's not talking about the mystery.
Past the stop sign, bro. We're
That's not
talking.
talking
Hold
about the
on.
mystery
You
God
want to
in the
keep
clouds.
you're trying to be
That's not
again.
explaining
You're trying. You just said it's explaining God, Lex.
no, it's explaining what God is to him.
Okay, isn't
Not
that what?
not in the,
Listen,
but it's not in the context of your mystery God in the
I didn't say
sky.
it was in a con. You keep saying the mystery God. Our God is not a mystery. It's
Yes, it
explained to
is.
us through
Your
the
God is a
prophets, His
mystery.
laws, His statutes and commandments, and in the scriptures that was left for us by
No,
our ancestors.
it is a
It's explained to us.
mystery.
God is not
Pro-
a mystery to us. God is
produce
only
him.
a mystery. It's only a mystery to you
Produce him
because
right
you
now.
don't know Him.
Produce him right now.
You don't know Him. He's
Produce
produced in
him.
me, just like
No, I'm
your
asking
ancestors
you,
are produced in you, right?
can you produce him right now?
Yes,
Can he
He's produced in me right now, talking to
let him,
you.
tell him, can he speak for himself?
He's speaking through me now. He's already
See,
spoken
it's
for himself.
always through me. And no, I'm saying,
Wait a minute. Do you believe in the
can
ancestor?
God speak for himself?
He absolutely can.
All
Can your
right,
ancestors speak for themselves?
can we get one instance today where God actually, if he's not a mystery, where he shows up?
What you mean? What mystery where he shows up?
I'm saying, like, God could end all the arguments and
The evidence
conversations.
they have been ended, Lex. That's what I'm trying to get
All
you
he
to
has to
understand.
do is show up right
There are
now.
no arguments, Lex,
Listen to what I'm
about God's
saying.
existence. I
All he has
understand
to
what you're
do
saying.
is show up right now and
He's
say,
done
Lex,
that already, Lex.
Yara
He's
is correct.
already showed up. Do you
Let
understand
him
that?
do it right now.
He's already said I'm correct.
Can he
He's
do it right
already done
now?
that. He's
No,
already
he
done that,
hasn't.
Lex.
I've never
There
heard
is
him.
no argument. The only
When did he
argument
do
that
that?
exists is the ones that from those who don't believe he's
When did
already
he do
spoken
that?
it.
When did he do that?
Since the beginning of time, before the
Name
beginning
me
of
in
time.
one instance where he showed up.
He said in this instance where he says, "Let there be light." In
See, now you're
creation,
talking about something written in the book. I said God.
that's what it is before it was even written in a book.
You prove it. God said, let there be light.
Look at it. Don't you see the light?
That's what I'm talking about. Bro,
Don't you
stop
see
it.
the light? That's
Stop
proof.
it. Okay,
That's
you know
proof.
what? No.
Because you know what, Lex? Watch
Stimia
this,
said,
Lex.
let there be light.
Watch this, Lex.
Prove
Watch
she
this, Lex.
did. That's
Watch
what I'm
this,
saying.
Lex.
We can go on all day.
Watch this, Lex.
Other people,
Lex,
other
do you
people
know
say,
anyone, Lex, have they proven how
Allah said, let there be light, sir.
Allah is God? Watch this. So are you
Allah is
saying,
not Yahweh, though.
watch this. I don't believe in Yahweh actually either.
So that's what I'm saying. So you saying that something was said in a book, that's a mystery, sir. I said God himself. Where did God?
Watch this, Lex. Is the universe to you a mystery?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's so much I don't understand about it.
So what do you understand about it?
Only what we know, the laws that we know about.
How did you come to know those laws?
Scientists came to know them through research, testing, observation.
That is all. So has that always been?
No.
Are you saying your ancestors before science came about, because you said it hasn't always been, are you saying your ancestors that existed before then had no knowledge of their existence or the universe?
No, I'm not saying that.
So how did they come about having that knowledge?
Through observation. But that they never was able to observe God.
I asked you, how did they come about that knowledge before the existence of science?
There's always been science.
You just said that there was a point in time in science where things were observed, but humans existed before that time. You said that they had a knowledge of the universe before that time. So
science
come into that knowledge
by observation.
So what were they observing?
The world around them.
How were they observing the world around them? Were they traveling around? Were they migrating around the entire planet? How did they come to observe these things?
All of that.
How did they come to observe these things?
Traveling, watching, looking.
What were they looking for?
Answers to their questions in their environment.
Why would they have answers to the questions of their environment? Why would they need answers?
Because they're trying to live, survive, and thrive.
They live. So you mean to tell me had any questions that they would not have survived, the human race would not have survived ever?
If they didn't have any questions, what do you
If they
mean?
didn't have any of these observations?
I can't say whether they would have not. I'm saying that they, in order to better survive, that means that, yeah, I'm watching and observing. I want to know when it's gonna rain. I want to know.
And
I
so
watch the
how were
stars
these
because
folks?
I want to travel. I want to know what plant to eat. I
Right,
ate this plant.
right,
My little baby ate that plant and died.
right,
Okay, we know to stay away
right,
from that plant.
right.
But this
Exactly.
plant I ate and it made me. So that's just. I mean, that's
Exactly.
what. So
So
I,
how did they obtain these answers, or did they ever obtain these answers?
they obtained some answers. Some answers
How
they
did they
have.
obtain the answers that they did, Lex?
Observation and experience, I would assume.
So you just assume observation and experience, right? So when we go into the scriptures and in the Torah, especially in the book of Exodus and Leviticus and Devarim and Deuteronomy, and it tells us and it talks about quarantine when there's no other instance of quarantine ever recorded in history besides what we see in the
Mhm.
scriptures. When we look at things in I would even say in the Rhine papyrus in ancient Kemet, when it talks about certain surgical procedures and different things, how did those things come to be? They just simply magically came to
What
be.
does that have to do with God?
I'm asking you, how did these things come to human beings? How did these things come about? Simply
By
just sitting in observation.
observation and testing,
So that's science, right?
experimentation.
Is that science, right?
Yeah.
But you said this knowledge existed before science.
What knowledge?
You said the knowledge existed before science. There was a knowledge of the world that existed before science was
No,
created.
science always was.
So science is always
Not to the level that it is today. And that's
So
arguable
saying,
depending on what people believe about the past in terms of
yeah,
how
right.
much
So
knowledge the ancients had. But I mean,
right.
you're kind of going in circles right
No,
now.
because
So
what you're saying is, Lex, is that there's a knowledge
I'm saying
that came
God
to
never showed up.
listen, but you don't know what God is. So how do you know how God showed up or not?
He never personally showed up.
So you're talking about your personal experience.
No, I'm talking about the human
No, you just
experience.
said personal. You're talking about your personal experience.
No,
So for
he
those,
never, not my personal
no,
experience.
watch this, Lex.
He never,
You just said your personal experience.
no, I
So
said
for those
he,
who claim, watch this, Lex. So how do you disprove those who claim they've had a personal experience with God? How do you disprove that with science?
because they can't display it.
I know. How do you disprove that with science? Is what I asked you. What's the methodology?
Oh, science means you test something. So when I test someone and say, okay, you know God, such and such, display and prove it.
So when I said God is real to me, He speaks to me in my mind. How do you disprove that?
By telling you to display and prove that.
How do you?
I just said it. If
So
God
when I
speaks to
say,
you,
so watch this, watch this. So when I say God said, "Let there be light" in Genesis chapter 1:1, how do you disprove the fact that God spoke that to me?
because you're just making a claim with no evidence.
But you just asked me for a claim. But the evidence is you said, how do you observe that I'm saying God speaks to me? If I'm saying, then my answer is what you have to accept as my claim. Because once you ask me that question, you have no way of disproving that God speaks to me in my mind.
Yeah, science means that you can that I can test it and it can be done again.
Okay.
So I can say that anyone spoke to me. Anyone can make that claim.
Okay, how do you
But can
disprove it is
you
the question.
prove it?
No, how do
No,
you
it's not
disprove
whether
it?
I can disprove
Yes,
it. It's
it
whether
is,
you.
because
It's
your
whether I
claim
can.
is that if your claim is, Lex, that God does not exist.
And this is where science comes in.
No,
I
but if
can't.
you claim, no, that's not where,
Your
that's where science fails.
personal claim is
No,
not.
you
There's a
just
term.
said.
I'm about to tell you. There's a term called falsifiable.
See, hold on. See, now that's not falsifiable evidence, because you can't prove,
Exactly. I
you
can't.
can't
There's
prove,
no
you
way
can't,
to. You
hold on,
making
Lex,
a
you can't disprove
nigga. Did Freddy
what I,
Krueger talk to me last night?
you can't
Prove that
disprove,
he
and I
didn't.
can't disprove it.
All right, because it's not.
Right?
So it's an
I can't,
irrelevant
hold on, I
claim
can't
in
disprove.
science.
I can't disprove. I can't watch this, Lex. I can't disprove that Freddy Krueger spoke to you in your mind.
Exactly, because
But
it's
you know
just.
what I can prove though, Lex? Hold
It's an
on.
irrelevant claim, sir.
No, it's not. Do you know why? But you know what I can prove?
All right.
That Freddy Krueger was created by a specific author at a specific time, and that specific author claimed that it was fiction. I can prove that.
And I can say,
hold on.
He just had a revelation of that came from the realm of Freddy Krueger, bro.
Prove that.
You're in pseudo-land. You're in pseudo-land, sir.
Hold on, Lex. Can you prove that about any prophet in the Bible?
Yes.
Prove it.
The Hebrews created a God that they call Yahweh that said, "Let there be light."
Prove it that they said it was science fiction.
The term science fiction didn't exist.
Exactly. So prove that it was fiction. Prove they made it up.
They made it up.
Prove it.
Why? Because other people got to say.
You can't say why, Lex. Once you make that statement, Lex, you can no longer say why.
It's not falsifiable, sir.
What you mean is not falsifiable. You
Meaning
can't disprove it.
That there's
if
also.
If you can't disprove it, Lex, then what does that mean? Give it to me.
It's not falsifiable.
If you can't disprove it, what does that mean?
That it's not falsifiable.
That means you can't disprove it.
No, I told you exactly. It means it's not falsifiable.
Which means you can't disprove it.
Which means it's not even on the table to be proven or disproven.
Exactly. It means it's neither on
it's not on the table.
Proven, right, to be proven or disproven. So that you know what it means? That means it exists. It just is.
No, sir.
That's where that argument fails with you guys all the time. Because you can't say that it does not exist. And that's why you guys fail when you try to make that argument against the scripture. That's what you
prove. So show and prove.
Hey, Lex, it's a wrap.
Show him and display God's power right now, sir.
Shalom to you, Zion.
Can you do that?
Look at the stars and the moon.
Show and prove God's power.
To you. The stars and the moon, the creation of the universe, the air that you breathe, the air and the seas, the water that you drink and you bathe with.
That doesn't show and prove your God, sir.
That's absolutely is. Because according to my proof text, it says the Most High created these things.
All right. And also according to the Quran, Allah created it.
Hey,
Lex,
so which one was it? Was it Allah?
Lex, does not my proof text state that my God
proof text? I don't know what there's no proof text.
The Bible, the scripture, that's my proof text. If I'm using it as my
and the Quran is somebody else's.
And the Quran agrees with the Torah.
And the metal netta is somebody else's.
The Quran agrees with the Torah.
And other cultures say another God did it. So that you're disqualified.
It's all God. That's not a disqualification.
Disqualified.
Who's to say that God is not observant than
YHWH is not Ptah, sir?
Prove that. That's evidence against that. I can bring.
So you're saying Ptah and Yahweh is the same God?
It talks about the highest deity. So they all had an understanding.
You
of
see
the
what I'm saying?
deity.
So now we can't even have that conversation.
We have the same concept. Absolutely, we can.
So, but Ptah is not Yahweh, though.
You're talking about names. The concept is the same, is it not?
All right.
Yes or no?
So
this is what I'm
dead on that, sir.
You guys love to be intellectually dishonest because Ptah is the father deity, is it not?
Yeah, Ptah is the father deity.
Okay, so if I look in my book and I see where it says Abba Father, is that not the father deity?
Can I put Ptah there?
You can put Ptah there. That's all it means. Is father.
So Bible
that's all
believers.
It means is the father. You're talking about
that's
language.
not all it means.
That is all it means.
So I can put the God Ptah there in the Bible, and Bible believers wouldn't have a problem with that.
I don't know what Bible believers have a problem with. I can't
All
speak for
right,
every
so this is
Bible
what I'm
believer.
saying. So
I
come
can't
on,
speak for
bro.
every Bible believer, but I'm telling you,
Uh,
I'm not. If you're talking about simply
okay,
phonology and morphology, if you say patah or the highest deity, this is the
that's
same argument. Hold on, because this is the
confusion,
exact
sir.
same argument. Hold on, this is the exact same argument that Paul posed when he used the term Zeus as the highest deity.
So Zeus is all. I can also use the term Zeus.
It's as the highest deity. But what is my understanding of that deity? Is the
So
question.
Zeus and YHWH is the same.
As Paul made the argument, is the highest
I'm
deity.
asking you, is Zeus and YHWH the
In
same?
the understanding, in the morphology, in the
Okay.
syntax of understanding of Hebrew thought, yes, it is. This is what Paul was postulating.
Okay.
He
Well, I
wasn't
don't.
saying was
Hey,
he wasn't
bro.
talking about Zeus of theology of the Greeks, but he was saying in the form of their highest deity.
Okay. You got that.
See, this is
I
why we
mean,
can use the
I
Hey,
term.
can't
look,
argue with. I can't argue with nonsense. What's up, bro?
You can say that, but it's what
can
it
I ask
is.
you a
Zach.
question, bro? So you
What's
said
going
that
on?
the Most High doesn't speak to us and things in those sorts. But when you read the Torah, it tells you to look in this book for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding the things that He created the world. So I want two examples, and I want you to give me your thoughts on these two examples. Okay, so is it not the glory of man to discover, adventure, explore, and to create new things? Is that not the glory of man?
To what? To
To
explore and create
explore,
new things.
yeah,
Is that not the
and to come up
glory
with,
of man?
yeah, and to come up with your so-called science.
I don't know if I mean, the glory of man. That depends on who you're talking to. But for the
Oh,
sake
okay.
of the
So,
conversation, I'll say it's one of the things that man glory in. Yes.
okay. So when the angel came down from the Tower of Babel and said, "Let's confuse them because if man thinks it, there's nothing in his imagination that he won't create." And the reason why they threw down the Tower of Babel. So then, if that's the case, aren't we the ones coming up with this so-called science and observation? And then, you said that the Most High speaks, to us. So for those of us who are in the scriptures and read the scriptures, for those of us who've been lost for all these amount of years and times and stuff, so in the scriptures and how the Most High speaks to us, when He tells us certain little things, I'll use like a simple analogy just for like people to understand. So when the Most High tells us not to be, borrowers or to take out loans, is that not a wise thing to do? And does that not come from us reading the scriptures of God speaking to us?
No, it doesn't.
How does it? If we
It
thought
comes
that this
from.
Western society teaches us to be people in debt and loan and things in those sorts, and we didn't understand these concepts, those of us who didn't grow up that fortunate, for the Most High to tell us these things in this book, that's not Him speaking to us?
No, first of all, the Most High never told you that, and that concept exists in modern finance. Someone could tell you today that not to, take a loan and go in debt. That has nothing to do with God telling you anything. God never told you that. Now, if the people that wrote the Bible, they may have that wisdom and understanding that, borrowing is not good. That doesn't has nothing to do with a God telling you anything. That
Okay, so
concept is
what I'm saying
that
is
concept is
a lot of us
also
wouldn't have known these things if not for reading the scriptures.
okay, good, fine.
Okay,
Well, that has nothing to do with God.
is it not a part of the law? Or what
No,
we
it's
would
not a
call the
problem.
law? So it's not
No,
in the first five books.
I don't know. I thought that was in Proverbs, but either way,
So you have a bunch of scriptures in Proverbs that tell you, you know, pretty much how to save money and things of those sorts. You have a lot of that in Proverbs.
yeah, the borrower is slave to the lenders in Proverbs.
Yeah. And you add each day a little growth is better than no growth.
That
Yeah.
concept is not exclusive to the Bible.
I didn't say it was exclusive to the Bible. I'm saying those of us who
All right, so that
didn't
means that
understand these concepts.
other people in other cultures had this understanding, and they did not worship your God.
I never said that they. I never said that they didn't have
I
this
know. I'm
understanding.
not saying you said that, but the
But what I'm
point
saying,
of
for
this
those of us
conversation
who
that we're
don't know these other cultures, and those of us who have not read these other things, and those of us who are just, I guess you would say, just been in the hood all our lives, when we read the book and the book is giving out wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, is that not the Most High speaking
no,
to us?
no. You
How
could
is
have
it
learned.
not?
You could have went. You could have went to school and studied finance, sir.
Okay, what if somebody didn't go to school?
Okay, they could have learned it from the Hadith in the Quran.
Okay, what if they didn't read it? That's what I'm saying, bro.
Right, Zaya.
I know you're not making. You're.
Well, he
I don't know
absolutely.
if
Don't
you
say I'm not making
realize,
sense. I'm making perfect sense, bro.
sir. I
Yeah,
didn't say
he's
you're not.
making
It's not
perfect
that you're not making sense, but you're not making an argument.
So you don't
How is
believe
It's
that
not
not?
a. It's not a. And that's
So
what I'm saying
so
sometimes, sir. You
Lex.
got to study what a sound argument is. Because I agree with you that you can read the Bible and find that out and say, well, damn, I never thought about that. I shouldn't borrow money and go in debt. It has nothing to do with you saying God is speaking to you. That now it becomes a personal belief. Like, okay, God didn't spoke to you. You read it in the book that was written by men.
So, Lex, do you believe in a universal consciousness?
Yeah, I do.
And how would that universal?
That's a personal belief, though.
How would that? That's what we're talking about, right? Personal
Yeah, but
belief.
I'm just saying that
So how would
I can't
how would a universal
take that.
consciousness work for you?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't, because that's
Yes,
just
it does matter.
that's what I'm trying to show you is I separate my personal beliefs from trying to enter into science and scholarship.
But how
And y'all
can you?
try to do things about. So
Are you
you asked me about
hold on,
whether
are you
I
saying-
believe.
Hold on, Lex. Are you saying then that there is no scientific evidence or scientific methodology that can prove a universal consciousness?
No, I'm not saying that either.
So you're saying it either is,
But
or
you to attach to what I'm saying is, I can't say attach that universal consciousness and say, well, it's Yahweh in the Bible.
So listen, watch this, Lex.
Even if there is evidence to suggest that there's
Watch
a
this,
universal
Lex. Watch this,
consciousness.
Lex. If our ancestors called the universal consciousness Yahweh, do you have an issue with that?
Yes.
Why?
Not mine, because I have a no. I don't. I have an issue. Yeah, I have an issue with the because I don't believe in that culture.
That's not what I asked. I asked if they called the universal consciousness Yahweh, would you have an issue with it? If what we're saying, making full circle, going back to our whole humanism.
I never seen none of my ancestors call the universal consciousness Yahweh.
Humanism,
And Yahweh is not a universal consciousness.
listen, brother, listen to what I'm saying. Going back to our first initial argument, if humanism is about humans, then that, like you were saying, there is just a base, and we both agree there's a basic foundation and premise for humanism. If there's
humans.
if there's a basic foundation for a universal consciousness, if it's called Yahweh, Ta, Allah, or whatever, why do you have an issue with it?
Because it would have to be a universal consciousness.
I said it's a universal consciousness.
No, but Yahweh or Yahweh.
Listen to me,
sir. Yahweh is not a universal
consciousness. That's not my question.
It is a. That's not. I know, but I'm explaining to you that why
my question to you.
I wouldn't equate Yahweh with a universal consciousness.
That's not my question to you, sir.
Yahweh is a cultural consciousness.
My question to you, sir, is if Yahweh was this universal consciousness that you believed in was called Yahweh, Ptah, or Allah, would you have an issue with it if it's simply based on the basic foundation of it all being a concept of universal consciousness?
No.
Okay, so if you wouldn't have an issue with that, Lex, right?
Mhm.
So then from one culture to the next, regardless of what they called or named this universal consciousness, you all agree that this universal consciousness exists.
No.
Why not? Simply based on the name?
No, because the description of
No,
hold on, bro.
the description is not any different. That's not what I'm asking. You understand
I know,
exactly
but
what I'm saying.
I know,
If the
but what I'm
description is the same, if the foundation is the same, is the ritual the same, is the move the same, if everything is exactly the same, the only thing that changes is the name. Would you disagree with it?
no.
Okay. So again, if someone comes to you and you say there is no name for this universal consciousness, right? But if someone says, well, this is the universal consciousness that I understand, and you say, well, we agree on that. And he said, well, I call it Yahweh. Are you then going to show him, prove him evidence that his understanding of universal consciousness is wrong when you just agree that it's the same as yours? But the only difference of discussion that you have or disagreement is simply in a name?
No, that's not the only difference.
That in this question that I'm asking you, that's the only difference.
No, because universal means of, affecting, or done by all people or things in the world, in a particular group, applicable. Hold up, listen. Applicable to all cases.
Okay.
So when you use the word universal consciousness,
right,
it cannot be applied to Yahweh because he is a cultural consciousness.
Watch this.
And
Watch
he's
this,
not,
Lex.
and that deity is not universal.
Watch this, Lex.
A universal consciousness would not have any biases toward any other group of people.
Watch this, Lex. So is thou shalt not steal, is that part of a universal consciousness?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because it's not universally accepted.
So stealing is not universally accepted?
No.
So give me an instance in history or any instance where stealing was not met with
I'm saying the person who's stealing.
Hold on. That's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying. Because once you go make that argument, Lex, you're going to die a miserable death. So what I'll suggest you just answer my question. Because the moment you say, Lex, that stealing is not accepted by
the bottom line is stealing is not God. It has nothing to do with God.
Watch this. It's
hold
on.
Now you're derailing the conversation.
Someone's consciousness.
Yahweh is not a universal.
Is not stealing a part of someone's consciousness.
We're not talking about someone's personal.
Yes, we are, because you just singled out an individual. You said everyone doesn't subscribe to that, so therefore it cannot.
No, that's because you brought something up that is outside of the universal conversation.
So you mean to tell me that not stealing from people is outside of a universal conversation?
I'm telling you that Yahweh is not a universal.
That's not what I asked you. I asked stealing. I didn't ask you anything about Yahweh, Lex.
Listen,
I didn't ask you anything about how
I know, but I want to tell you something.
No,
you can
don't
understand.
tell me anything. Just answer my question.
Don't tell me anything.
Just say thou shalt not steal outside of the universal consciousness that you accept.
What does that got to do with universal consciousness?
Is it outside of the universal consciousness that you accept?
That has nothing to do with the universal consciousness.
It doesn't?
Can I frame it a different way, Elder?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yahweh, what I'm telling you, Yahweh is a cultural.
I didn't ask you about that.
Deity.
I didn't ask you about that.
Hold on, but this goes.
Go ahead, Zaya.
This goes back to what you asked me before about do I believe in universal consciousness, sir?
I'll let Zaya get it in.
Yahweh is a cultural deity that was brought about as
also, when the scriptures don't even particularly say that, because he was known to everyone by different names. He wasn't known by Yahweh until it came to the covenant.
That's why I was going with it, bro.
Yahweh is the covenant name given only to the Israelites.
Okay.
So for you to sit there and say that since the time of Seth, people were calling on the name of, you know, the Most High, but they weren't calling him
What name
Yahweh.
was they calling him?
They
So
was calling him a bunch of different names. The
right, and so
Almighty,
this is why we
the
have this
Was
Highest.
the
agreement
hold on?
in
Let
this
me talk to Zaya, sir,
universal
because
concept. Hold on.
Zaya is lacks understanding.
No,
Oh,
no,
The
that.
actually,
Oh,
Egyptian,
he's correct. He's
sir,
correct,
the
Lex, because is
Egyptians,
this not the
the
conversation that Moses
Japanese
had
were
with
not
Gideon?
was
Hold
not
on.
calling on Yahweh, sir.
Is not the
yeah, because
conversation,
Yahweh was the only name given to the
All
Israelites.
right, now
brother?
if that's the name
Yes,
given to the Israelites,
yes.
then that disqualifies it from being a universal consciousness.
No, it
How
does
As
does it
not.
soon as
disqualify
I'm a
when
because
hold on, when the
if you
Egyptians told
listen, sir,
Abraham, hold on, because you just said something. You just said even the Egyptians, when
Yeah.
Abraham came to see him or whatever, and he told him that Sarah was his sister, did he not have an understanding of the law? Because he knew.
it's
Why
not
did he
even a
say to him?
universal
Why did he?
story,
How is it
sir.
not universal?
Now you're telling me about a story in the
Universal
Bible,
story. Come on,
sir.
bro. You just
That
denying everything, bro.
No,
hold on,
we're
Let's
hold on.
actually
talking
have the
about the
conversation.
consciousness that's
You just
connected to
denying
Yahweh
everything,
now,
bro.
Lex, once you say
Oh,
that.
man.
Because
Listen,
you keep
bro.
using the name. Now, if you keep want to go using the name Yahweh, you're gonna get caught in that,
No,
Lex. So
I'm
we'll
just showing you
prove
the
that
difference between a universal consciousness
there
and
is
what you
not.
call a God that
So
and he
then, how
just
did
said,
I
how
didn't
did
hold
ask you
on,
that.
Sarah?
bro. Hold
I
on,
didn't
sir.
ask you that though, Lex.
He just said,
I asked you, Lex, was
I'm
stealing
talking about what
outside of your
Zaya.
universal
Zaya just
consciousness.
said that Yahweh was the covenant name only given to the Israelites,
And he's
which this
correct.
right, which disqualifies that God from being
How,
a universal consciousness right
how when he
there.
was known by other names? Like, what are you
Sir,
talking?
you're not listening. Just
I am
try to
listening.
listen for a second, sir. Universal
Yes.
means applicable in all cases. So
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
soon as you say that a God gave a specific people something exclusively, it's not universal
He
anymore.
said the name. He just simply
Just
said the
the
Okay,
name.
just
so
the name, bro.
He said the name, brother. So
all
when
right.
I asked you, is
So it's
stealing
not a
not a universe?
universal name.
Hold on.
It will
Listen,
be
Lex.
though. Okay, let's talk future prophecy then. It will be the universal name because we're the
Okay.
ones that everybody's supposed to cleave to give it unto the world.
I can't argue with about your belief, sir.
Okay, it's
If
not even a belief. Okay, that's
you
just like
believe,
hold on,
hold
but
on,
even
you
with that
believe
name
that
stuff,
is going to happen. I
it
don't.
is happening. What are you talking about? You got people on it every day, even though we say different names like Yahuwah, Yahweh. There's people calling on the name of Yah to this day. Millions of people, probably more
No,
than. What are you talking about? The Israelite
hold on.
movement swept the world, bro. You got celebrities, you got all types of people calling on the
See,
name
this
of
is
Yah.
what I mean by the delusion.
How is that delusional, bro?
The
You can go
Israelite
on
movement has
Instagram.
swept the world. Like,
Oh
bro,
yeah, I talked to people
motherfuckers
from
in India,
Germany.
China,
Hold
Japan ain't
on,
thinking
bro.
I
about the
talked to
Israelite
people from
Hold
movement.
on.
there, dude.
You
You already
listen to
know we've
what
been
I
on Clubhouse, bro.
nigga, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet, sir.
Right.
And this
And
is
we
what I
just
mean.
hold
So
on,
that's
Lex.
why I said I can't argue
So
with your belief. Hold on. He said you believe that one day that the Israelites are gonna rule and they're gonna be God special, which would make it not universal again if he has a certain
One
people
day
that's
when
gonna
you
rule.
bring
And
everybody
that
into the covenant.
I
that's not
can't
absolutely true
what I'm
because
saying is, hold
the
on, bro. I
scripture
can't
tells us
argue.
that he
My
chose us
point
to
is I'm
bring
trying
that
to
knowledge
show.
to the
Can
world.
you let me teach
So
Zaya
it's
how to think for a
universal.
second, bro?
It's universal. You
So
can't though.
so
So
I'm
when the
trying to
scripture,
show him how to argue. I
Lex,
don't
does
disagree.
not the
Hold
scripture
on, brother.
tells
Let
us
me
that
say something
Israel,
to this young brother that needs to learn something,
hold
bro.
on, Lex, does not
Before
the
you try to
scripture,
argue with me.
Does not
All
the
right, can I
scripture
just
teach us?
finish addressing this?
No, because
Sir,
I'm addressing you.
when you're
Does
making
not
an
the scripture
argument, sir,
teaches,
and
Lex,
you tell your
does not,
personal belief,
I know he can hear what I'm saying. I know you can hear me,
It's
bro.
not a personal belief. It's happening before
Right.
your eyes. If you don't see
Because
it,
the scripture teaches, bro, that Israel is to bring that knowledge to the world. Is that not what it teaches, Lex?
yo, bro. I mean, that's your belief system.
No, I'm asking you, is that not what it teaches?
No, that's not what it teaches.
Zaya,
That's
is
not the
that what
only
the
thing.
scripture teaches?
yes, come.
So what do you mean, Lex? Is not if part of Israel's calling is to bring the knowledge of Yahweh to the world, is that not a universal calling?
No,
Why not?
Because why would it be one group of people if it was universal?
It's not just
Why
one group
would
of
if it
people.
was
It's one
bro?
group
Every
of
time you
people
ask me a
chosen
question,
to bring the knowledge
yeah,
to the world. Is
right.
that
And
not what the
so
scripture teaches,
if
Lex? Yes
there's
or
one
no?
group of people chosen to do
To
it, it's
bring
not.
the knowledge to the world, not
Then
to keep it to themselves.
that means that it's not universal.
No, that means it
Ooh.
absolutely is universal because he never
All
told
right.
us to
Well,
keep it
then
to ourselves.
I
Is that
can't.
not right?
I
Is that
can't
correct,
argue with
Lex?
someone
Yeah,
who wants
he
to.
wasn't supposed to keep
What
it
I'm
to
saying is
himself.
I can't argue.
Did Run DMC bring
Hold on.
Shelto Adidas to the world? Yes or
I
no?
can't argue with people. I mean, I'm
Is
not going to
everybody all
argue.
over the world wearing Shelto Adidas? Yes or no? Like,
I'm not going to argue about
come
the
on,
basic
bro.
definitions.
No, but
Come
So
but
if you
we're
don't
not arguing
understand what
basic
universal
definitions.
mean, like I said, y'all got to learn how to argue.
No, you
Like,
have to learn how to
soon as
argue,
a
Lex,
God
because one
says
of the things about arguing, Lex, is answering
y'all are
questions.
fighting for your religion right now, and I'm
We're
having a
not fighting
different
for a
conversation.
religion. We're
You asked
trying
me
to have a
about a
conversation with
universal
you.
consciousness. If you don't listen,
Does not the
universal.
Bible, does not the scripture teach a universal consciousness, Lex? Yes
No,
or
it
no?
doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Now, show me that it doesn't.
That's what I just told you. If it was universal, it wouldn't be one people that needed to spread the knowledge. The knowledge would just come to everyone universally.
Wasn't if it's you just admitted that you just said it's supposed to be given to the world, to the universe, to be spread universal. You just admitted it.
Universally means that it would come to everyone universally. It
How?
wouldn't be.
How? So that means it was intended for the world.
I mean, that's your belief.
No, that means it was intended for the world. Was it not?
Just because somebody is giving it, bro. I mean, come on, bro. Everybody, they brought us
He's
the
dead on
TV.
these arguments, and then he wants to try. I got to teach the young brother how to argue. You know, all the young brother has to do is what he keeps doing, and that's standing on the truth and listen to the foolishness that you say. Because you say, "Oh, it's not universal."
Like I said,
but,
I mean, I understand the religious mind.
It's supposed to be brought to the world. How can you say it's not for the world, but you agree that it was supposed to be brought to the world?
Because if it was for the world would have had it.
The world.
There would be no need to have a people to bring a universal God.
Watch this. Does everybody, Lex, have the capacity to understand the universal collective knowledge that you believe you have?
Yes.
Everybody has the same knowledge you have.
No, everyone doesn't have the same knowledge.
Why not? Why not?
Everyone has the capacity unless they have some type of.
So,
unless they have, if they don't, I mean, there's people who are autistic or might have some type of mental brain
that aren't autistic, people that are
brain damage, but
that have
in general, yes,
mind,
everyone
so
has
they have the same knowledge you have, Lex.
Everyone has the capacity.
That's not what I asked you. I said, does everyone who has the capacity have the same knowledge you have?
No.
Why not?
Because they haven't maybe had the experiences I had, or even spent the time and study.
So they haven't had the experiences, right? They haven't had the experiences that give them the knowledge. So is it not Israel's calling to bring that knowledge or that experience to them?
No.
According to the scripture. Isn't that what a calling is?
It's also Israel's calling to go out there and destroy those who don't want to.
Hey, Lex, that's a red herring. That's
not
what we're asking you, bro. We're asking you. See, you can't ask. This
to
is
destroy
what I mean.
those who.
Lex talks about. Hold on, Lex. So when you
if
talk
the knowledge
about,
was universal,
got to argue.
Other
first
people.
Of all, you have to teach them that they can't argue from a place of fallaciousness, of being a liar. See, you can't answer a basic question with truth, Lex. You can't teach.
Okay.
You're not qualified.
If it was universal, other people would not have a problem. It wouldn't be forced to accept something that was a universal consciousness.
Who's forced to accept it?
So I mean, that's clear, man.
Who's forced to accept it?
The people that have been colonized by the Israelites, the Christians, Muslims, and Jews.
So they've been. So when you mean colonized, you're talking about European colonialism?
I'm talking about Jewish colonialism, Muslim colonialism, and Christian colonialism.
But we're not
Well,
talking
the
about
universal God would not have to.
Christian. We're not talking about
So the
Christian.
universal
We're not
God,
talking about Christian colonialism, which is white Western Europeanism. That's all that is. We're not talking about that. See, again, you with the semantics. Does the
if it was
Bible
universal,
tell
the
you-
Canaanites wouldn't have had no
does the
problem
Bible tell you?
accepting the
Does
knowledge,
scripture tell you,
bro.
Lex, the New
It's
Testament
not
that you
universal
often quote,
because other
does it
people.
tell you that what? God so loved the world that he did what, Lex?
Gave his only begotten son
For what reason, Lex?
to conquer the earth.
You're out of
I
here,
don't
bro.
even believe
You
it.
dead, and we don't. And most people don't even have to rock with that. We
That's
even got to go into the New Testament, but you die on that alone, bro.
How?
Yeah,
Come on, bro.
I mean, that's what
simple.
I'm saying. Like, I'm
That's
sitting here
simple,
talking
man.
to two religious
No, bro.
people.
Stop, bro. We're having a conversation.
Of course,
when you make a statement,
y'all would
no,
say,
bro.
"Oh, you died." Like, y'all don't even have to make sense in order to believe that
No,
you
bro.
won.
But when
There's never been an Israelite who's lost a debate. That's how
well, yes,
delusional
there
they
has
are.
been. There's been several. Israelites
Do
lost.
you know what I'm saying? So, like,
So when
when
I
you
say,
go, "Oh,
but
you
Lex,
dead"
but
or
when you
whatever,
say something
bro,
is-
I already know your
But
personality
when you
traits.
say something is universal, like on one hand, and then say, "Oh no, it has a different definition when it's on this end," you're being intellectually
No, I
dishonest.
told you that Yahweh, or whatever you want to call this mountain fire deity, is not a universal God.
We're talking about
It's a cultural God
So when I ask
for
you, watch
some
this.
nomadic Asiatics roaming through the desert.
When I
It's a
asked
local.
you, Lex,
Hold on, sir.
stop.
It
That's
is
not
a
what we're-
local
Lex, we're
deity.
talking about a universal consciousness.
It's
And
local.
when I asked you about stealing, when I asked you about killing,
Stealing is
murder,
not
are
God,
you
sir.
telling me that those things aren't considered universally the same?
Those things are not God, sir.
That's not what I asked you, but those are
It
concepts.
doesn't matter if that's
Are
what you
those
not
concepts
ask me.
of Yahweh?
No.
All right. So what is the Ten Commandments then?
10 Commandments are things that was borrowed from other cultures, that's in other cultures. It had nothing to do with Yahweh.
So then they universally agree, right?
So that's no,
Why not?
because all those cultures stole from each other and went to
But
war with each other.
if you say, well, you can't prove any of that. But if you say they stole from each other, then they all
Yeah,
agree,
the
because when
Israelites
you-
stole the
hold on.
land of Canaan from
Because
the
then your
Canaanites.
argument is because
If the
your
God was
argument is then, Lex,
universal,
hold on, Lex. Then
God
your
wouldn't have
argument
told
is,
you don't steal and then
your
send
argument
you into
against
someone else's
your
land
argument
to
again.
steal
Actually,
their
no,
land.
that's not the scripture. The scripture never says Joshua went into a land and steal a land.
Yeah, I know
He
what
told Joshua.
I know what the scripture
He
says,
told
because
Joshua
that's
to
their.
go into the land to liberate the people that were being oppressed in
No, he
that land.
didn't, sir. No,
Now,
show
if
me
you
that.
ever want to have
Show
that,
me that.
you said
Pull
what?
that scripture. Show me the scripture where Joshua was sent to go liberate.
I'll
Well,
tell
it
you
said,
what
Joshua, I'm
He
sending
told
you into this land to liberate people.
Right. He told them to destroy the Anakim because they were
Yeah,
oppressing the
exactly.
people,
Stop, bro.
because they were oppressing the people in land.
That's a cultural view. That's what I
No,
mean.
that's
That's not a universe.
cultural view.
You don't know
That's
what
the
a
view of history.
You don't
The
know what the
Armada letters
word.
tell us that, bro.
The problem you're having
No,
is
Lex,
you
listen,
don't
Lex,
want to
not the
understand what
Amarna
the.
letters. Come on, Lex. Not
You
the
don't wanna-
Amarna letters tell us that the people in that land were being oppressed.
The Amana letters. Now you're getting into something else, man.
No, I asked you a direct question.
No, bro. I'm not doing all that.
You're not ready.
So what I'm trying to say is the
Hold on,
fact that someone
but you
sends
said
you.
the most.
Hold on, bro. Calm down.
on,
I
bro.
know you're a fanatic. You just can't cut me off
come
because
on,
you want
bro.
to say something.
I wanted to ask you a question.
The problem you're having is y'all want to change the definition of universal, or you don't have
We don't
comprehension.
want to change the definition.
So soon
of
as
universal.
so universal means just that. So if there
Watch
is a
this,
low,
watch
if
this.
there, hold
Watch this,
on,
Lex.
bro.
Hold on. No, wait.
If
wait.
there's a deity
I said,
that's
wait a minute.
sending another
Lex, I
people
want you
to go
what I want
fight
you to
against
do-
another people,
He not listening. What I asked you, Lex, is to read your definition of universal, and then I'm going to do this to you again because you act like you didn't hear me, and I'm gonna show you again. Read us your definition of universal, since you're saying we using it a different way. Read me your definition of universal, that you did before, and I'm going to show you this universal consciousness in the scripture. That's all I'm telling you.
Bro.
Now read
I mean, I already showed trying to tell you that if a God,
he's not listening. He goes
He's
again.
not listening. Okay, Lex. Okay, is the Most High Spirit? Yes or no?
what Most High? What are you talking about?
Is Yahweh described as a spirit?
I don't know what he's described as or whatever he's described as. That's listen, sir, and that's what you don't you keep missing this point.
He's not missing it. He simply asked you, was he a spirit, bro? That's yes or no, bro.
He doesn't exist, sir.
Okay, so the Most High is spirit, according to the
Yo,
scripture.
Yara, why you got me on the panel if you muting me?
I just unmute you, bro. Because you don't listen, bro. I'm trying to have some decorum with you, bro. But
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you, dude.
I'm not saying just answer the question yes or no. That's all.
I'm saying he asked me, is the Most High Spirit? That's in his mind. So how can I address that? In his mind, he believes in some deity called Yahweh. Hold on, bro. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to give y'all the perspective I'm coming from, but y'all trying to argue. What I'm saying,
I just wanted to ask you that because you know. Because you already know what I'm gonna say.
But listen to what I'm saying to you. You're a fanatic, bro. You're not listening.
Bro, chill with the ad hominems, bro. Because
I know where you're coming from. You're asking me about a belief in your mind. And what I'm trying to show you, when you ask me, is the Most High a spirit? You think you're asking a real question. Nigga, the Most High that you believe in, to me, is nothing but a phantasm in your mind. So how can I answer the question for you?
So then you can't disprove the Most High exists.
Just say no to you, bro.
You can't prove
no, but because it's deeper than just a no, Zaya. That's what I'm saying to you, brother. Like,
no, it's not.
You totally believe in what you're saying, but I can.
Hold on, shout out. Welcome to DJ Black Charm to the panel, man. Long time, brother.
Shalom, DJ.
Peace. Hey, go ahead, Lex.
You totally believe in what you're saying. I could take you somewhere else where some other people will ask you the same question about Krishna or about something else, and to you, it would be like the same thing because you don't believe in those deities. So when you ask me about the Most High, I know you believe he's real and maybe you're his chosen people and all that. So when you ask me if he's a spirit or not, bro, to me, you asking about Santa Claus. That's what I'm saying. And I just want you to understand a perspective when you're asking questions to someone who don't believe in your religion.
Okay, so pretty much, yes, the Most High is a spirit. So he's a spirit.
My God! You see what I'm saying? You see the reaction?
Hold on, let me finish.
Hold on. You didn't even acknowledge.
Let me respond. I'm acknowledging what you're saying.
Yo, bro,
exactly. I don't have to agree with you.
You don't have to agree with me, but how you gonna conversate with someone and then? That's what. Go ahead, bro.
I'm about to give my rebuttal. Give me rebuttal.
There's nothing to rebut.
It is.
It's not even an argument against you. It's you understanding who you're talking to.
Lex, you don't understand the Torah, bro. So let me break it down for you. Let me rebut, because in the scriptures it tells you that the Most High is spirit, and those you're supposed to worship him in the spirit. So where is the spirit? Is it not your mind? Haven't your scientists and all of these people, psychologists, the neurological I would say research trying to find the spirit within the mind? So if the Most High is the mind of mind,
no, they haven't.
Oh my God!
No spirit has ever been located, sir.
Exactly.
In any scientific nothing. When you start talking about a spirit, you're outside the realm.
Prayer and meditation, how it affects the brain. Come on, bro. Like you acting like I'm new to this.
This is what I mean. You're getting shit mixed up, bro.
How am I getting it mixed up, bro?
When you
can I speak on that?
You talking about a spirit, and I believe even I believe in the spirit, where it is, what it is, and all of that. Now we're getting into the pseudo realm, and all I'm telling you is we got to make a distinction between what we can prove and what we believe. I
Oh,
believe in the spirit, sir, but I
But
can't
then
tell
y'all,
you where it is. I can't tell you what it's composed of. And for me to get now, when we get into that conversation, we are in pseudo land, sir.
how
right?
are we in
But
pseudo
before y'all
land?
even go to that space,
Hold up,
y'all
DJ
even go to that
Backyard. Just
space, y'all
real quick.
already in
Just real,
agreement that there's a spirit, and that makes it universal.
yeah,
So
No,
So,
not everybody agrees with
real
that,
quick, DJ
Black
Backyard,
Charles.
because now I want to ask Lex this question. So when you create something, is that not using the spirit? Because like let's just say people who are very creative, they pull from what they would call, your scientist says the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension allows you to create something on the physical plane and make it 3D or tangible.
Sir,
Come
no,
on, bro.
that
You know this
now,
concept. You know this concept is actually very true.
yeah, but
Are you
now
telling
you,
me that people create all of these movies and fantasies and stuff from what? Their mind, right?
yeah,
Okay, so
and
is that
some will
not
say,
pulling into something that
and some will tell you it's their brain, sir. Like once
exactly?
you start
So
talking
are
about
you
if you create something, you're pulling something from the fourth dimension. Like you're talking this kabbalistic shit, and it's all shit that I'm not saying that could not have any validity. But what I'm trying to show you as a human being is that when you have those conversations, those are your beliefs. So you cannot enter a conversation assuming that someone else believes in the fourth dimension, someone else accepts a spirit, or anyone accepts Yahweh and what your
but that
Bible
you
says.
believe in science, don't you?
I think y'all a bit deep on that on the understanding of
You
it,
believe
Go
in
because
ahead, DJ.
science.
on
Go
the
ahead, DJ.
surface on the surface of it, morality is a spirit, as well as
Huh.
discouragement is a spirit. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't, I think everybody understand that universally. You know what I'm saying? To be joyful or to have morality or to be encouraged. Those are spirits. Now when you be encouraged, now what Lex is talking about, somebody who's part of our faith, when we be so encouraged, we give the honors to the Most High. Lex probably believe in being encouraged, but he don't want to give the honor to the Most High.
I
So
mean,
I agree.
can I give the
I agree
universally,
with that.
everybody believe in being encouraged.
can I give the honor to Anu?
I mean, if that's what you want to call it, but the spirit is encouragement, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's people who would just say what you call encouragement is a chemical release from the brain and it's just a human
Maybe,
biological. So
yeah.
that's
I
what I'm
mean, that,
saying when
yeah.
we
So
go
I
in.
mean, but in the doctor world or the scientific world, would that be universally correct?
In that world, to
Right.
some
So
degree,
again, go ahead. My bad.
yes, yeah, to some degree. But then there's also doctors who may mix the worlds. You see what I'm saying? And that's all I'm trying to explain to
Right.
brothers when they're having these conversations. Like I can't come to you and be like, let me do like this. Is Ola Dumare, is he a spirit? Nigga, you might know you don't believe in Ola Dumare. You see what I'm
But
saying? And that's what I'm trying to
what
explain
about
to
the
Zaya.
rituals, though? What if the rituals are the same? Like you get on your knees, you close your eyes, you bow down, and you say a prayer.
Yeah, okay, fine. But what makes it not universal is a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew would say he's praying to a demon. That ain't the real Most High. Olodumare is a demon that's deceiving him. So that's
But
what I
they
was
all
trying to
praying.
tell them about universal. Universal means it applies to all. So what I was
That's
trying
what
to
I mean. They
explain,
all are praying. They
but
all are
no,
praying.
but
Now
no,
where
what
you
I
say the
mean,
concept of prayer come from?
Yep.
That's
no, I agree with you on that, but all prayer may be a universal concept. Now we could agree on that. But when we start talking about what I was trying to explain to Zaya is Yahweh is not a universal deity. You see, don't see the
oh
difference? So we
yeah,
can
that's
all agree and say, well, a lot of people pray and they all see prayer as some type of supplication to a deity. but their deities are not necessarily universal.
What
Okay.
so what universal so what is it that stops Yahweh from being a universal deity?
Because he's specific for people.
So the
He's
scripture
not
doesn't say,
specific for
so
people,
the
bro.
scripture doesn't say that.
Meaning he's the Israelite God. You see what I'm saying?
So does not the scripture say this Israelite God loved the world?
And then there's an argument about what the world
That's
means.
not what I asked you, Lex.
Okay, it says, yeah, he so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son.
Yeah.
And then I got Israelites that'll tell you that
Listen,
means
I
the
didn't
world and
ask you what
Israel.
those other Israelites. I didn't ask you that.
Yeah, but okay,
I didn't
so what's your
ask you
point?
that. I asked you the concept of love because it said he did what?
Gave his only begotten son.
Know that he loved the world.
Okay.
Right? So is love a universal concept?
No.
Wow.
Some love as a universal concept.
Wow.
Some people believe love is just some shit
But
people
they
made
still
up.
believe in love.
No, they don't.
Wow. So love is not a universal concept.
No, hell no.
So love is not intrinsic to humans.
You ever heard ain't no love, nigga, love will get you killed. What are you talking about?
So love isn't intrinsic to humans?
No.
So you mean
I think the military people love being they love fighting for their country. Even if you call them savage and say they ain't got no love, how they blow people up, every person who do patriotic for their country, I think they love it. And by default,
now we're
talking.
Love. Now we're talking the word in context. Yara said love in terms of, like, I can say I love chocolate. That's not universal.
You loving chocolate might not be chocolate. That's what you're making the semantics with.
Yeah, chocolate may not be.
You're making a semantic claim that was.
That's right, y'all.
The concept of love is still universal, Lex.
Yeah. Chocolate may not be the thing, but love, you still found something that you love.
You love something. Love is a universal concept.
No, hold on. What would make love universal? And this is where y'all are missing with universal.
Listen to this.
Listen. It means that the love would be universal, meaning like my love, like I would love everyone. That would be universal love. That's what universal means. It's applicable in all cases, meaning I don't pick and choose who to love. I just love. That would be
love is applicable.
He didn't even hear. See what I'm saying? This is the problem when you're trying to have a conversation
now, if
about what
accepted or not, it's still universal.
All right. Well, I can't argue with ignorance, sir.
Okay, so Lex, let me ask you this. So in World War II, when World War II happened, and these soldiers
exactly because universal means universal, Black Tom.
He doesn't understand.
It means it applies to all.
Hold on. Love doesn't apply to all?
No.
So you mean to tell me that everybody in the world don't love something? So you mean to tell me in World War II, when these soldiers
loving
were fighting each other, they were enemies? Hold on, bro, wait, hold on, because these soldiers were fighting, killing each other day in, day out.
So they didn't have universal love.
Wait, hold on. But Christmas came around, bro. And guess what? They put the guns down and they celebrated Christmas together. You know, I don't believe in Christmas.
That's not universal.
That's not love, bro.
No, I didn't say it wasn't.
They're enemies, bro. They were killing each other.
Listen, sir. The fact that they were killing each other means they didn't have universal love. God damn, bro. Do you understand what the word universal?
For one day, they had peace.
He's trying to argue, and
I'm not trying to argue.
Yes, you are. You're trying to argue.
It's just really simple word understanding.
No, bro, stop it, bro. You're trying to argue love in the sense of only one aspect, as an emotional aspect of a phileo or eros love, but they are different types of love.
That means it's not universal.
It's still love, though, Lex. It doesn't matter What concept
All right,
of
but
love
that
do you
means it's
instill?
not. If there's different types,
Did you
it's
just
not.
not say, watch this, and
God
this where you
damn,
die?
bro.
Oh, this where you die.
You
Did you just
slow,
say at the
yo.
beginning of this show, while you got on this panel, that humanism is a basic concept?
That humanism is a basic concept?
Yeah.
I said humanism. When we talk about humanism, it's a foundational concept in terms of humans is
But
the
it's
foundation.
different, but it's different based on human experiences, right? And perspectives, right?
No, it's different.
You okay, go ahead.
It's manifested. It may come off different for people who have different cultural perspectives,
But it's still
but
the basis is
humanism
still
itself, meaning that human, the word human
I didn't
would be
ask you about the word human, bro.
hold up, but human would be universal, meaning that if I say
Right.
I'm about humans, hold on,
Uh-huh.
listen to the difference, sir. If
Bro,
I
didn't
say
ask that. I didn't ask
if
you
I
that.
say I universally love humans, right? That means if I go to China, I love them the same. If I go to India, there will be no difference in terms of how I love humans universally.
Exactly.
Now, if
love is a universal concept.
So listen, but
it's
if
just
I
based on your experiences
listen,
in different cultures,
all
what
right,
you choose to love about them.
y'all will have to go back and listen to this conversation.
There you
Right.
go.
Why are you talking about the law of
Think
opposites?
about what I
Because he
just
said
said.
But
that's
look, you're
exactly
talking
what you
about the
said.
law, but you're trying to bring the law of opposites in here, like
The
that's what I'm
law
saying,
of
bro.
opposites.
Yeah, because without
All right,
hate,
tell
you
me
wouldn't
what.
know.
Let me ask you,
You
Zaya, because I
wouldn't
want to
know.
make
Hold
sure
on,
we're
bro.
on the
Wait,
same page.
We are.
What
We
do
are
you
because
think
let me
universal
finish,
means?
bro. Bro, we wouldn't know what love is if we didn't know what hate was.
Now you're talking about something, and that's what I mean by
So
you, sir.
this
I
is
want to
what I'm
make sure
saying.
you're
So
not
love
slow.
is
So
a
I need to
universal. No,
understand.
bro, because love is a universal concept, bro.
All right,
Because
so
at the end of the day, wait,
And
hold
what
on,
he's
bro. Wait,
attempting
let
to
me
do,
finish.
what
what he's
is
attempting
you?
to do is
Let
I
me
need to
pigeonhole
finish.
you
know what
to
Let me make
universal.
my
specific concept
let
of
me
love. When we
let
know
me
there
make
are
my
many
statement and
different
then rebuttal
concepts
it.
of love.
Yeah,
He knows
because
that.
you wouldn't
Sir, I
know
don't want to
what
rebuttal
love is
everything you
without
say. I
hate.
want
So
to understand you.
okay, yeah, okay. So you wouldn't know what love is without hate. So everybody particularly has love or has the capacity to love anything or anyone or have love within them. So you have to take these into considerations when you're making an assessment because without that, without hate, without knowing what hate is, you wouldn't know what love is. So that's what you're trying to
All right,
interject into the
that's very
conversation of universal
philosophical, sir.
love, bro. But you're
No,
trying to
I'm not
interject that
How am I
concept into the
interjecting? We're talking
because,
about,
bro, you're trying to say
bro.
like the whole world is just gonna be sunshines and rainbows
Oh
and
my
just
God.
love. No, it's
I did
not gonna
not
be like
say
that.
that the whole world. This is what
That's
I mean by your comprehension level, sir.
how is it
Let
That's
my
me.
exactly what
comprehension
you're
All
doing.
right,
level when
hold on.
you're
Let me
saying
ask.
that I
What
would
you're
love
doing
the
is
same
one
person
aspect and
that I would
concept.
love for
I'm
in
just.
China. I have love for those people.
That
Right.
would
At
be
the end of the
called.
day, that's
That
not.
would
But
be
it
called.
doesn't mean that I'm going to love them the same as I love my people. It doesn't
Right.
mean that. And
Exactly.
if one of them
But
call
that's
So
me
it
a
still
is
that's
nigger,
not.
still a
I'm
universal
definitely not
concept.
gonna
Hey,
love that
hey,
Oh
Lex,
person.
I
man.
think Lil Shawty got you on this one,
Right.
man.
He
Hey,
got
Black
I
you.
mean, I'm
John,
just being
bro.
honest. I'm
I
just
mean,
sitting
of
back. Listen, I think
course,
Lil Shawty got you on this one.
you would think that. But
I
let me
mean,
ask him.
you saying some good
No,
shit,
hold
but I
on.
think Shawty got you on this
All right,
one,
so
though.
let me ask him. Listen, now watch this, Black John. Well, listen to his answer, and I want you. Now, Yara's gonna try to interrupt and save him. Now listen close. What does universal mean, Zaya, to you?
Something that can be applied to any and everything, just
All
like you
right.
said.
If I
Yeah.
have universal love, that means that the love applies the same to all people. Now, once I say
That's
I love the
impossible.
Chinese, nigga, I didn't say whether you felt it was possible or impossible. We're just talking about the concept of universal. So once I say, if I love the Chinese more than I love the Japanese, my love is no longer universal.
That's not
But
true.
then that means you're theorizing what the
Oh my,
concept
you
of
know what,
love
bro?
is,
Right.
though, bro.
All right,
Come
That's
on,
bro.
man.
only
You
that's
can't
only
do that.
your
Bro.
aspect of love.
Okay,
that's
I
not
got
the
it.
only
We're not
aspect
even
of
talking
love.
about my aspect. We're talking about the word universal, sir.
But then
Right,
you're
but
theorizing it and not
because you
applying
can't
it to
talk.
real
Well,
life, bro.
hold on, Zaya. He can't make that argument. Y'all understand? You see what he's doing? He's saying, I'm talking about the world universal as it applies to everyone. But if I personally, singling himself out, goes into China and say, I don't love everything the Chinese do. If I don't love the Chinese, then it's not universal. You can't take your personal conception and say now it's in that instance it's universal. You see what you just did, Lex?
No.
That's when you just lied.
The point is,
No,
you
Lex,
listed
you
that
can't say
universal
you
is
can't
not.
take you can't have a universal argument, Lex, and apply it to everyone, and then say, "See, I'm
No,
proving it simply based on my feelings."
no,
That's where you
universal.
your
No,
argument.
that's what
That's
you're
where he
doing.
destroyed you.
Universal is not personal.
But you just make it personal when you say, when I go into China, I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That means I would be
No, that means
personal.
you're contradicting
Yeah.
what you just said.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
because somebody else may
Okay.
love them.
So that means that we don't have a universal love.
No, that just means your
Oh my
conception
God,
of it.
bro.
But you love
Okay.
something.
Yeah, you found something in this you found something in this world of love. Everybody
You love
finds something.
something. So love is a universal concept. This
It's
is
a
why
universal
Okay.
this
spirit.
is how the Greeks break it. Actually, this is how the scripture breaks it down. We know there's an existence of
There's a
agape love.
comprehension problem here.
There's an agape love, which is an unconditional love. We know
So
there's
is enjoyment a spirit, Lex?
exactly.
Is
The scripture
enjoyment a spirit?
Yeah.
What do you mean by spirit?
Like what you feel. You feel enjoyment, right?
See, now you didn't see what you feel. So now
I'm
you're
asking you,
associating.
is it a
But
spirit?
this is what I'm saying with
Oh,
y'all,
is it a
bro.
feeling? Is it a spirit or
If
is it
you're
a feeling?
saying it's a feeling, now you're associating with feeling as a spirit.
But then,
Is it?
Lex, then if you're just taking
but that
universal
is a
as
Is
just
form
a
of love, is it
concept,
not,
then you're
Lex? Hold on,
theorizing
is that not a
universal.
form of love, though,
That's
Lex?
it.
Right.
What?
Isn't that a form of love?
What?
What DJ Black Charm just said to you. That's what.
Enjoyment? No.
Yes. What?
Enjoyment is not a form of
So
love.
there are some things that you love that you enjoy that you say, well, I love to do this or I love to do that.
Now you're just talking about speech, bro.
So
Listen,
what is
bro,
it that you
we're
hate
talking
but you
We're
enjoy
talking
but
about
you
what
hate
he
it?
asked you, bro. Stop running, bro. He know he dead. He trying to find a way out. He can't find one right now.
Yeah, but Lex, now you're just
Bro,
theorizing the
at this
concept of
point,
it and not
I'm
applying it.
just
But you're not applying it to actual reality, though. When you theorize the concept of universal, you would say universal love. You're just theorizing it. You're not applying it to
right
I
because
would say situations, bro. It's not gonna be. It's impossible, bro. It's
when you
never
say
gonna
the
happen.
word universal, it's not about whether universal is reality, whether it's applicable. It's about what it means. Whether you feel it's applicable or not is irrelevant.
No, it's not.
How
What are you
so?
talking about?
Like how so,
Okay,
bro?
on that
Like
issue,
that's
he's
crazy.
dead. He's dead,
How
bro.
so? Like
He's
everything
dead.
that you theorize, it has to be applicable
Yeah,
to
he's
life
No,
dead.
in order
because the
for it to
word
work.
universal is not a theory, sir.
What? You just
You
said
know-
you just made it a theory when you say it's not applicable to everything. Because a theory, a scientific theory, is applicable to everything.
Universal love is not a
You're
scientific
dead,
theory.
Lex. You're dead.
Universal
It doesn't mean that
love
it's gonna
is not a
work.
scientific theory.
You're dead, Lex. You're dead, bro. You're
Okay.
dead.
I mean,
So if it's
I mean,
just a
I know
theory,
your
then- But I'm
personality. I
just
mean,
saying, if it's just a
okay.
theory, Lex, if it's just a theory, then it's just your opinion, right?
No, the word universal has a meaning,
No, if you're saying
and you want to change the meaning.
we're not changing the meaning. We're not
Like,
changing the meaning.
I mean, how
You're
can I
changing the
argue with
meaning,
someone who doesn't
saying
even
that
understand what
universal
the word means?
in one instance, in the same sense, it means applies to all, but then you interject your personal feelings along with that. It's no longer applied to all once you attach your personal feelings to it, Lex. You can't do that. And that's what-
Okay. I mean, y'all have to go back and listen to yourselves, man.
No, you got to go back and listen to yourself. And this is the intellectual dishonesty that are talking about what happens when we get in contact with these guys. I appreciate y'all, man, for being on the panel. I'm going to close the last 2 minutes out.
You about to get out?
Yeah, bringing up.
Shalom, Elder. Thank you for having me on the panel.
Where Lex at? Because he probably would enjoy this from old science.
He's out of here.
Shalom.
Yeah, I took him off the panel, man, so I can close out. Please, but check me out. I'm going to be debating Brother Reggie on Sonetta TV this Sunday before Chris and Zion Lex debate. Going to be dealing with him on some issues, but I wanted to say this, man. Getting back to that, dealing with Black humanism, man. It's a religion. People that they completely talk about all their ancestors are gods. This is worship of human beings. That's all it is. It is a religion. Don't let them fool you when they tell you that they don't. It's exactly what it is. So, man, peace and blessings to you, family. Hey, listen, I appreciate all you guys coming through. Asiatic Lion, I Am Created, Green 101, DJ Black Charm, Zaya, Lex Vortex, Yazir. Appreciate you, family, for coming on. And that's it, bro. Peace, man. Shalom, family.